zoom out? I don't know which time. Okay, so hi, my name is Elizabeth Schulte, and I'm here to talk about what was until very recently Salem's only remaining intact 19th century building, which is the J building of the Oregon State Hospital. The Oregon State Hospital, of course, was originally known as the Oregon Insane Asylum. Before the institution was built, the mentally ill in Oregon were handled on a case-by-case basis, which differed from county to county. In Marion County, we shipped them off to a private institution up in Portland, the Hawthorne Asylum, where they were handled for the cost of about $1 a day. Then in 1880, the state allocated funds to us, and we completed construction in 1883, making the building just over 126 years old today. It cost the state $184,000, even with most of the labor being provided for free by the prison. It's an Italianate-style building. It was designed by local architect William F. Boothby, who also designed the prison, the old Capitol building, and the Bush House. It was originally intended to host 500 patients, but it actually held more like 550 to 600 throughout most of its years. It was based on the Kirkbride Plan, which was a plan for hospitals developed by Dr. Kirkbride in 1850. He's from Pennsylvania. It advocated a U-shaped building with administration in the center and 2 wings for patients on either side. It was originally a U-shaped building, but then one side was elongated, making it a J shape. Next page. Some of the reasons for being committed throughout the years include amputation of limb, brain irritation, business trouble, cerebral anemia, disappointment in love, exposure, excitement, masturbation, overwork, religion, starvation, vicious habits, and youthful indiscretions. And of course, to make it even better, for years before 1940, the treatment was based on liquor and laxatives. The medicine cabinet supply list in 1830 was 5 gallons OK Cutter whiskey, 5 gallons grape brandy, 3 gallons cod liver oil. But then in the 40s and 50s, hydrotherapy, electric shock therapy, insulin shock therapy, and lobotomies became more popular. There were 150 lobotomies performed at the Salem Hospital, the last one performed in 1958. Not as much fun as the Cutter whiskey. There was a mass poisoning on November 18th, 1942. A patient was helping in the kitchens, and he was sent down to the cellar to get the powdered milk, and he accidentally brought the rat poison. As you can see, rat poison does not equal scrambled eggs, which is what they put the rat poison into. 467 people were sickened by it, and 47 ended up dying. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, based on Ken Kesey's book. He's a local author starring Jack Nicholson, was filmed largely in the J building and the adjacent Dome building. Dr. Dean Brooks ended up playing Dr. Spivey in the film. There is a network of tunnels underneath the campus, but rumors that they connect to the state capitol or to the penitentiary are totally untrue. They just connect one building to the next building. They're used to transport patients, food, and laundry. The glass lights are purple because they contain magnesium. When Brooks was superintendent in the 1950s, there began to be rumors flying that male and female patients were using the tunnels for secret rendezvous late at night. So he led the press down into the tunnels and showed them the dimly lit, disgusting, dirty concrete tunnels and said, "Do you think anyone, no matter how crazy, would want to lie down on that floor?" Which killed all the rumors. The 144-acre campus also houses the remains of a narrow-gauge railroad, which was both above ground and through the tunnel system. It originally had bamboo railway carts to transport goods. Now the tunnels are mostly traveled on electric car and bicycle. In 1913, a crematorium called Stein's Chimney, named after the superintendent at the time, was built on the J building, and all the remains of the patients who were buried in the on-site cemetery were disinterred and cremated. From that point on, all the patients' bodies, unclaimed, were cremated and stored in brass canisters in the basement, some 5,000 of which went unclaimed until they were rediscovered in 2007, most of them unlabeled, and they were the subject of a photo documentary done by a man in New York, and now they are interred in memorial on the campus grounds. This is what the building looks like today. In 2008, an architecture report concluded that the J building, which houses 155 of the 725 patients, was unsafe in earthquakes and in fires, which is one of the main reasons for its demolition. On August 8, 2006, the hospital was fined $10,200 for asbestos violations. It also has destroyed plumbing and wiring systems, an antiquated heating system, and shaky foundational elements. It would be very, very costly to bring it up to code, and it's cheaper to knock it down. Some factors leading to the demise of the hospital include lack of funding from the city and state, the proliferation of private nursing homes, and the trend towards specialized rather than general psychiatric care, which means that we now use psychiatric drugs to treat patients and then re-release them into the community instead of housing them forever. The U.S. Department of Justice criticized the quality of care also at the hospital, partly due to the conditions of the buildings. $458 million was recently allocated to building a new hospital as a replacement with 620 beds to be completed in 2011. And I should point out that all of the pictures that I've been using, the last 4 of which have been really cool, were taken by David Maysel, the gentleman that I mentioned earlier. He did the photo documentary. It's called Library of Dust, and it's a really pretty book, which like I mentioned, photo documents all the canister remains which were found in the basement of the J building. So that concludes my history of the J building, and I encourage all of you to go and drive by it before it's gone, because it will be completely gone by the end of next week. Thank you very much.